Alright, welcome to a new video. In this video, I'm gonna address how basically the Western dating community is a joke, in my opinion. Now there are many content creators online. They making these videos, especially talking about males, because this is what's more common. You see males. I mean, usually females, they don't know what they're talking about, bro. But males, like, at least they have. I mean, they have some, though there is some truth to what they say. But a lot of, it depends on the creator as well. I mean, some creators are more precise and more accurate in their information, while others just make sweeping claims that are not careful. I mean, coming from experience, personal experience, they ignore the evidence. Yeah, but I'm gonna give my take on this because I think these people are the biggest losers, in my opinion. Like, so many losers, like, I mean, they struggling with the dating life, like, I mean, in the West, and they go online, and they talk about this and that, this and that, this and that. Now, first of all, I have a question. Why are you basing your worth of dating success? Why are you basing your worth of attracting these 304s, what you call 304s? You think that they are not at the same level as you, right? You think that they are asleep, that they exert behavior, but they don't, like, they're not conscious of it. Then why are you trying to please someone that you perceive as inferior? This is the problem. Like, why do this? I mean, there are a lot of, like, these dating content creators, like these dating coaches, or this, I mean, content creators making dating content. Like, they know deep down, like, they know that females are annoying. I mean, there are strong patterns, tendencies, right? They're annoying. They tend to cheat a lot. So they know these things, especially in the West, where we're usually, like, I mean, we're talking about younger hoes, right? From 30 years old down, right? They're usually only religious on paper. They're not truly religious. You find them promiscuous, having multiple sexual partners. You'll find them, you know what I'm saying, having too many body counts, too many friendships at once. You can't really trust them. What these friends want, like, most of the time they want to take the 304 for themselves. So it's not really neutral. It's not that they are just talking with them. Like, what do you think they want? They want to hit it. Like, most of the time when they start on the DMs, it's something. It's something about that. It's not genuine. It's not genuine desire for connection or conversation. We know this. Like, most, like, to be honest, like, most individuals, bro, like, they got nothing to offer, to be honest. I mean, most people nowadays, they're so boring, like, in my opinion, from my experience. They ain't got not so much to offer. And when it's about opposite genders, I mean, it's even, like, the purpose is even more clear, because, like, most of the time it's about that. I mean, what can they provide? What can they, you know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't got no knowledge, no understanding of anything that a person is interested in. They don't share the same values nor beliefs, nor any, and most don't even have, it's not even close when it comes to thinking patterns. Like, most people, they have a very different thinking pattern than I am. They are not as analytical as I am. They don't notice the subtle cues that I do. They don't see the problem with human behavior, with psychology, the way I do, with the human nature itself, the way I do. So it's only natural that that I'm incompatible with most. What would I gain from these hoes? Like, I mean, during urges, like, when my prefrontal cortex is blocked, when I can't choose my logic, when I can't take decisions properly, that's when I tend to fall for this, for the chasing effect. But it's only temporary, yeah, right? I just want to chase temporarily because I want to relieve the, you know what I'm saying, the sexual urges. So they are just a way for me to relieve the sexual urges. Not that I'm attracted or none of that stuff. Just like a lot of these people that watch porn, like, they just watching to cope with the situation. It's more like conditioning. They might be suffering from isolation, from loneliness. They might not have the many alternatives. They're sick of being alone. They are too sensitive to being alone. Like me, for example, right? So, I mean, it affects me severely, especially, like, I've been alone for, I mean, I'm alone almost every day. out of choice, not out of choice, but sorry, but I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice, right? So, and it's been for several years consecutively, 10 years now, about 10 years or so. So the effects compound, you get what I'm saying? So everything I do, and I used to do solo activities, but they're no longer satisfying for me now. It's like I reached the point where that's it. Like, it's like I don't find joy in doing them. Yes, my dopamine system is dysregulated. Yes, I'm overstimulating my brain consistently with the social media scrolling, with the addiction, corporal masturbation, right? I know I'm doing these things. But at the same time, just sick of it. I just can't take it anymore because humans are not meant to handle everything alone. That's what you gotta understand. Humans are not meant to handle everything alone. Yeah, so this is what I gotta say. I mean, it's really tough. No, these content creators, like, I mean, if they really think that the opposite gender is this, they're annoying, they're not worth it, they're only materialistic. Yeah, though I don't agree with these sweeping claims, but there are some strong patterns, I would say. But they are not only unique to females, that's the thing. Like, the identity bias makes you defend your gender, right? Subconsciously, you lean towards your own gender. If you don't control it consciously, like if you don't regulate the bias consciously, then might you find yourself defending your own gender, making sweeping claims about the other gender without seeing your own gender. Like, people tend to notice the flaws in others more easily than noticing the flaws in themselves. So this is something you gotta pay attention to. As people like they defend it because of identity bias, they defend their group, in-group bias, right? Identity in-group bias, they defend their group because they belong to it, not because they are necessarily in the, you know what I'm saying, they are necessarily right. This is what you gotta say. Most people, like, on the comment section that be relating to these people, you might be one of these. I'm talking to you directly. I'm not like these content creators who will be acting like I'm talking in third person about talking about somebody else, because I'm addressing you. There's a big chance you're one of these people that I'm talking about. We need to agree with these content creators. A lot of times you have went through the similar experiences. You have been hurt as well, the way they're hurt. That's why you tend to relate. You belong to the same group. Same goes for the opposite gender. Same goes for females as well. Usually you see they support each other, right? Though males tend to tear each other down more often because they're idiots, in my opinion. How would you tear each other down, bro? Like, you want to be better than the opposite gender, why would you tear each other down? I mean, I do have some subconscious bias as well because I belong to a particular gender. I'm a male as well, but I tend to regulate it when I see something that is not true. I see a lot of sweeping claims about females because there is no inherent female nature, or there is no such thing. There is human nature, yeah, there are some human nature. I mean, humans tend to behave in certain ways, right? Generally, we are talking generally about humans, all humans. There is a human nature. But female nature, something specific to females, I disagree with that. There are males that are even worse. There are females that are, you know what I'm saying? There are males that are worse. There are females that are worse. So you can't really, I don't know about this. But there are some strong patterns, to be honest. I mean, most people, it's not unique to the females only, but most people, I mean, they don't pay attention to their surroundings. They don't have environmental awareness. They go on the street like they're looking straight. They don't notice what's around them, even if someone is attractive, you know what I'm saying? Even if someone is grabbing attention, is salient, they're tall, they're not paying attention, they're just marching forward. This is how you see a lack of environmental awareness. They do not observe, right? Alright, so I would say alertness, yeah. I'm constantly in survival mode, so that probably explains why I'm paying too much attention as well, but I'm naturally deep processing the environment, even though I'm just, you know what I'm saying, I'm just, yeah, being all alone by myself most of the time when I'm walking on the street also helps, right? With deep processing is also a factor, but I'm naturally just like, I tend to overanalyze, I tend to deep process the environment. Yeah, about the cues, like, I mean, you can see a lot of strong patterns. There are a lot of strong patterns concerning human behavior in general. I mean, most people, they don't care about you, for example. They don't care about the struggles you're going through. They're not there to support you. Not even your family nowadays. They don't understand psychology. They're not trying to understand your situation. They're just making like in my case, for example. I'm not talking about everyone, but a lot of parents are like this. My parents, for example, like they don't understand like their psychology. They don't try to understand my situation. They don't try to provide emotional support. We don't got psychologists either, so you got, you know what I'm saying, they're so too limited that they're not that experienced to deal with my case. Because I'm going deep and not just sticking to the superficial. That's one thing, you know what I'm saying, about me. Yeah, but about these, getting back to the topic, human behavior like ghosting, this is not unique to females. I mean, many males as well exhibit this. It's more about personality than it is about gender. It can also be about interests, like, for example, they're not interested. Yeah, this is part of personality because personality and interest, they're probably mutually influential. They influence each other, right? It could also be about, they might be busy as well, right? They might, yeah, so it's about loss of interest, personality incompatibility, which could lead to that as well. So they could also be busy. They could have a different partner, so you might assume your intentions early on. There are different reasons to that. And some people just don't care, like they don't care to continue the conversation. They're not thinking like, I mean, this is a strong human pattern. Most people, when they ghost someone, like they don't really think that much. At least from, I can't really talk about people's internal states, but they don't seem to me, because a lot of times from my experience at least, when they tend to ghost you or block you, they don't look backwards. They're not gonna unblock you or look at the message again. That's it. They just don't care. And this seems like a strong pattern. It reinforces the NPC behavior for some reason. To me at least, though I don't believe in this stuff. I don't consider anyone to be an NPC, but it reinforces like this predictable behavior. It makes humans seem predictable to me. Because they don't behave the same way. And I pay attention to these things, like I can just forget about a particular behavior. Like these people, they don't care, they just make behaviors, they are unaware, like they're not paying attention, they're not re-evaluating, they're not thinking, oh, I might have hurted this person from this by making this behavior, I should check on them. So they lack empathy in this context. We could say that they lack empathy in this context rather. But they might still have empathy for animals, like, I mean, which is the priority, for a human being or an animal? Animals don't need y'all, right? They don't need y'all. They got the support they need from other, you know what I'm saying? I'm just joking, but you gotta at least apply the principle consistently. I mean, why you being empathetic towards animals, for example? Or your own gender, like if you're a female especially, but not the other gender. Why is this the case? Or is it within your principle that your empathy is very selective? I don't get these people. It's like, because if it's very selective, then I could probably suggest that you are. It's not within your nature. It's something that you control. So you are pretending to be empathetic in a certain way, right? So it's not that you really feel like that, but you're forcing yourself to be with certain people or with certain animals, for example, because if you can control it, you can choose not to be empathetic, then that really could show that it's not a structural trait. It's not, you're not really like that. Because I'm empathetic by nature, I tend to regulate this. I think that it's not convenient in a lot of contexts, right? A lot of times people don't deserve your empathy. They don't deserve like your forgiveness, your kindness, but I know these things, I tend to regulate it. But by nature, I'm highly empathetic. This is the thing. And then people, they come, you're not like this, you're not. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just talking about patterns that I noticed. They could be overgeneralizations, they could be oversimplifications. This is what I noticed. Reality is far more complex. This is why we tend to rely on psychological studies, because they're based on replication and aggregation. Replication is basically when you repeat a study to see if you come to the same conclusions. Whereas aggregation is when you connect dots or points of data to come to a conclusion. They are more reliable, but they aren't perfectly reliable because they are based on a particular population. The results could differ from population to population. right? So, and when talking about psychology, you have to go by incomplete information, like what they tell you. You cannot access someone's internals. You can diagnose it, but you have to rely on external information. What they tell you, what you observe, what they exhibit, the behaviors they exhibit. Yeah, that's the thing. So, anyways, about the dating coaches. I think one of the best dating coaches is, in my opinion, one that I watched a bit. I didn't watch many, but I think one of who is at least like he knows what he's talking about. I learned from him a lot. Is YBC Too Cold. Why this guy YBC Too Cold? I think he knows what he's talking about way more than the others. Though sometimes I would say he makes sweeping claims, but we all do, right? I mean, we are not perfectly precise. I mean, sometimes, right, we drift into overgeneralizations or oversimplifications. I mean, this is expected. I mean, this is natural, right? Yeah, so the thing, I'm not talking about him specifically, but there are many like dating coaches online, like they are losers. I mean, it's like they're basing their worth on attraction because their whole content is based on attracting the opposite sex. I'm talking about males specifically, because females usually don't do the same thing. They're not as idiotic as males, to be honest. They know their worth. They don't lower themselves to please somebody else. They see us inferior, because most females, they see us inferior. Why do they please you? Especially in the West, we're talking about in the West. Why would they lower themselves to please you? This is another problem, right? So people in the West, like males in the West, are more like disgraces to society. They're not really males. They don't give worth to themselves. When you look up to someone, it's natural for them to look up down to you, because you're giving free attention. I mean, all these things, giving free attention, receiving nothing in return. What do you expect? Like, really, what do you expect? And look at the dating market. Look at the dating market. Too many males, we already talked about this. Too many males give attention to too many females. And on the opposite hand, too many females give attention to the top males. So there is this imbalance. And no wonder why they complain, I'm not getting any dating matches. I'm gotta start giving attention to these. Because of simps like this just destroy the balance. You gotta stop giving attention freely. If you want to take your power back as a man. And I would argue that a real man doesn't get into this bullshit at all. This dating, all of that, this is meant to destroy your mental health. It's meant to destroy you as a person. A real man, in my opinion, does not get into this. Though the definition of a man is more like subjective. It's not like something like a male, which is objective based on biology, right? So the same biology. We're talking about a cultural, societal definition. It could be intersubjective, but sometimes subjective. I mean, if one has his own criteria of what a man is, for example, it's about self-control. You know what I'm saying? It's about giving one giving worth to himself, not basing his worth on others. This is what a real man is. I mean, some criteria could list, yeah, but it could be other ones that I'm not thinking of right now. But yeah, this is my definition of a man. Dating, like we could talk about the black pill. We could talk about the hypergamy. I mean, we could talk about the red pill, the blue pill. So the black pill is about. I mean, there are two definitions. I mean, people use them differently. So there is looks are the most important thing, and there is looks are the only important thing. Now there are some extreme black pillars who think the latter, and there are some who think the former. No, this is obviously false. If we take it as looks are the only thing that matters, because in dating there are many cases of men who are less than 5'9" and they're still doing perfectly fine. Those statistics suggest that 6'2" around men around the height of 6'2" are more favored. They tend to be selected more. But that doesn't mean that people who are taller than that, like 6'6", like like extreme heights, or shorter than that, maybe shorter than 6 feet tall, like 5'9", they don't perform well, because it's not the only basis. I mean, yeah, on dating apps specifically, looks are probably one of the heaviest factors, because that's they don't have, like, because the other person doesn't have much information about you, so they judge you based on what they see, and that's something that the first thing that catches most people's attention is your looks. So they judge you based on your looks, and when we say looks, we're talking about mostly about the face, facial beauty. We're talking about the physique. We're talking about the height. Most people would argue that the face matters the most, right? But even then, we still get social skills there, because a lot of, I mean, it's really, sometimes you'll tend to complicate things, but it's really like you're making a science out of this female nature, but it's really that humans are not that complex in their thinking. They're trying to complicate something that is simplistic. They just don't care. Some people they're not that analytical. They're not that interested at all, right? So they're not as interested as you think, and they're not that analytical. They're not paying attention to the looks, to the physique, to the way you do. This is it. You don't have to complicate things like this. I mean, it could be for some people if they analyze deeply, but it's not really the case as you think. You really think that these hoes are that complex in their logic? Like, let's be honest about it. You really think they're that complex to analyze? I would not assign too much value to this. Like, they decide how much value. I would assign to looks 75%. I would assign to status, you know what I'm saying, 25%. You really think they think this way, bro? Like, come on now. I mean, just from from their messages, like, they're not complete words, like the language that you're using, it don't seem very smart to me. I'm not talking about females specifically, males as well. I mean, this horny, like, this craze, you know what I'm saying, which are too common in the West, bro. They don't seem that intelligent. They don't seem that intelligent to me, to be honest. Let's be realistic. To think this way, to break down. I would be surprised if they actually break down things this way. But mostly it's about the looks, I would say. Yeah. I like this guy. Oh no, I don't like it. They don't bother. If you don't like, they're not going back. They're not rethinking their decision. They're not that analytical, bro. You don't have to complicate things just because you see things to be this way. For example, in psychology, I mean, there is a small percentage of people, like, they tend to deep process a lot. They tend to deep process the word a lot. That's more like something biological. That's more about, like, the way their brain works. It's not a flaw, right? It's about how the way it's about biology, how their brain works. You can't eliminate this, but you can regulate how much significance you attach to events and the things that that your brains tend to think about. How much significance you attach to them. Because when you tend to rethink about something, when you tend to examine something, it naturally leads to stronger encoding, to higher significance. Yeah, so that's the thing. That's what I'm gonna say. But not everyone is the same. Like we tend to fall, like, we overly analytical people tend to fall in the trap that everyone is the same. But we don't know, like. But the truth is that not everyone is like this. Not everyone has this. Has a brain that doesn't stop from working, a mind that almost never rests, a cognitive engine that doesn't want to shut down, that doesn't shut down. Not everyone knows how it feels like to have a brain like this, to have a mind like this. Like, this is what you don't understand. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, a lot of these content creators tend to think this way, but not everyone is the same. Like, these hoes are like, their brains work in a very simplistic way. It's not that complex. I mean, most of them. As you see the picture, they're not really that attached either. I mean, they got so many options anyways. Because males, when they tend to display, I mean, they give option more freely. Attention more freely, right? You will find them simping in almost every girl's comment section, regardless of her attractiveness level. We're talking about facial attractiveness, right? Or I would say beauty as well, because sometimes you can find someone beautiful without being attracted to them. good looking or without being attracted to them. So, yeah, so that's the thing. They tend to give attention more freely, whereas females are more selective. They aim for the guys that you usually cannot get. They aim for the top. They're more smart in this sense. They're more intelligent in this sense. They don't just give it freely, because they give worth to themselves. They value themselves. They have standards. In like y'all sense, bro, like losers, man. I know y'all have, like, usually men tend to have like a higher sexual drive, but you get what I'm saying? That's too much. This is the problem y'all suffering there. Despite that, I'm against the act of these dating, all this relationship, all of that stuff. I'm completely against that. You can still get connection, you can still get love from family, from yourself. You don't need external attachment. It's really addictive. Like, it's like drawing from a substance. Like when you get rejected, when you don't get the attention that you want. It's like withdrawal from a drug. You know what I'm saying? From meth or something. Yeah, this is really like you shouldn't condition yourself. You shouldn't condition yourself like to be attached, to give attention like that, bro. Females, they tend to support each other a lot. I mean, a lot of their like supports. I mean, or a lot of their love in their comment section. Like when females want to tend to support other females, I wanted to tend to display love for other females. It's mostly support, right? Care and support. Males for other males, like in fitness communities, it's mostly about respect, looking up to them, right? As an example. But when it's the opposite, it's about it's more often about attraction, right? When females tend to display like love for males, or the opposite, it's more often in the form of attraction itself. But anyway, so my battery is low, but the conclusion I'm trying to make is that the dating market is completely broken. The West is really, is really collapsing. Like, it's such a terrible society from this side. I mean, and too many problems with it. Societal problems with it, educational, moral. You know what I'm saying? They don't even, for what can I say? Fulfill their criteria of morality. Like, they know a lot of things are bad, but they tend to do them, right? And they try to push these things as well, like corn. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to look out for women. What can I say? Your success is based on attracting other partners, opposite gender partners, or opposite gender females, right? So attracting females, like look what they're basing their success on, and they're pushing these ideas away. So to the influence, they're brainwashing the youth to think this way. This is really dangerous. This is some dangerous ideology, to be honest. With the black pill, with all this and that. I think I'm gonna make a video talking about the black pill specifically, because my battery is too low. I don't want to make the video too long. It takes too long to upload with my terrible network. But yeah, this is it, man. The black pill is really a danger. That's what I'm gonna say. I might say it right now, bro. The black pill is really a danger because it's pushing this idea that looks are the most important thing. A lot of kids are doing anything just to improve their looks, and the problem is that they're not doing these. Most of the time, they're not doing these things for themselves, but to attract other partners that don't really give them any much interest back. Like they don't care, bro. Like most females, they just don't care, bro. Like as much as you think, bro. They're just wasting energy. Why are you doing these things for them? This is the problem. And this ideology of black pill, you know what I'm saying, is dangerous because it can lead to lookism, to discrimination based on looks. You're basing brainwashing kids to think that looks are the only thing that matters, or the only thing that matters, right? Or the most important thing that matters, right? You know what I'm saying? Or the only thing that matters, which could lead to them looking at the mirror 24/7, flexing their jaws, you know what I'm saying, flexing their muscles, or mewing, or you know what I'm saying. Also, when they do this, you know what I'm saying, they think that it's gonna give them hollow cheeks. They really believe that. But anyways, what can I say? It could. Well, I don't know, but a lot of these looks maxing methods, like they're pseudoscience, like bone smashing, you know what I'm saying, and they're not that efficient. Even if they work, they're not that efficient. They may take too long. So. But the problem with the ideology of black maxing, in short, is that that push this idea of discrimination against of basing other people's worth based on looks, discrimination against them because they don't meet a certain threshold of looks. And we can see this like in Discord communities of Luxmaxing. I mean, we can see, you know what I'm saying, on YouTube communities of internet communities of Luxmaxing in general. You know what I'm saying? We see, and even in what they use to describe Luxmaxing. Right, you know what I'm saying? Like ratings, like subhuman, all these terms, you know what I'm saying? You're derogatory terms. But yeah, that's what I gotta say. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You're new, and I'm out.